Think of the family story people always tell a little more quietly. Maybe an aunt once said, "Your great-grandmother was Cherokee." Nobody had a document, nobody agreed on the full name. But the story stayed. Years later, while clearing out your grandmother's attic, you find an old photograph, 5 people. Tucked behind it is a small note with one word in pencil, Cherokee. You look at the faces, the hair, the skin, the cheekbones, but none of that can tell you who they were. So let's put one family story through 7 tests. Keep your own story in mind as we go. By the end, the Reed family story will either hold up, change, or fall apart. If this were your family, you would probably put the photograph beside your laptop, type the name into a search box, and hope for a perfect match. That is also how people end up proving the wrong story. Ask a harder question. What would show that it is false? Maybe the dates do not fit. Maybe the person lived in the wrong state. Maybe the record belongs to somebody else. DNA comes later. First, you need a family branch worth testing. If the story fails before that, a percentage on a screen will not save it. Sign 1. The story points to a specific person, not just a vague claim about Cherokee ancestry. "We have Cherokee blood" gives you nowhere to start. "My grandmother said her grandmother was Sarah Reed, and Sarah's mother came from near Murphy, North Carolina" gives you a name, a relationship, a place, and a generation. Before you search online, call the oldest relatives. Let them tell the story without feeding them names. Write down their exact words. Some details may have changed over time. That is normal. But now you have someone to look for. No name, place, or generation. Then you do not have a lead yet. And even a real name can still lead to the wrong person. Sign 2. The same unusual detail turns up in another branch of the family. 2 cousins who heard it from the same grandmother are not 2 sources. They are repeating one source. So you call someone descended from another child of Sarah, raised in another household. They remember the same county. They also remember that Sarah's mother never spoke about her parents. That does not prove anything. Families can repeat the same mistake for years, but when separate branches remember the same odd detail, the story is worth another look. Next question, do the place and dates fit? Sign 3, the person was in the right place at the right time. Somewhere in the South is too vague. Cherokee history is tied to particular places, communities, dates, and records. Do not decide the answer first and bend the family tree around it. Start with Sarah's last documented place and year. Then ask what records existed there. In our example, she was in Western North Carolina during the right period. So the story is possible, nothing more. It still does not prove that this Sarah is your Sarah. Sign 4. The paper trail connects every generation between you and the person in the story without any gaps. This is where many family stories begin to fall apart. Even careful researchers can get fooled here. Late one night, you find a Sarah Reed. The age is close. The word Cherokee appears nearby. You message your cousin, "I think I found her." For a moment, it feels done. Then you keep reading. Wrong county, wrong husband, wrong children, wrong Sarah. This is how family legends get proved online. 2 people with the same name are merged, and a missing parent is filled in with the answer everyone wants. So you start over. Births, marriages, census records, deaths, land, probate, and you do not skip a generation just because the name looks right. A matching name is interesting. It is not a connection, only the full chain connects her to you. Now you have the right Sarah. But are you searching the right records? Sign 5. The family appears in a record that belongs to the right place and time. There is no single list of everyone with Cherokee ancestry. The 1835 census, Dawes Rolls, Guion Miller applications, and Baker roll are 4 different record sets. They are not one big list. They were created in different years for different communities and for different reasons. A family living in western North Carolina in the 1830s should not be forced into the Dawes Rolls simply because those records are easy to search. Even a rejected application can still be useful. It may name parents, earlier homes, witnesses, or relatives. In our example, one application names two relatives and an old county. One relative matches the marriage record. The county matches what both family branches remembered. Now the family story and the documents finally overlap. That is when DNA becomes useful. This is where most people say, fine, just take a DNA test. Then comes the colored wheel, the tiny slice, and the screenshot in the family group chat. But that percentage is usually the least useful part. Sign 6. Your DNA matches lead back to the same family branch. Maybe the test shows a small Indigenous Americas estimate. After hearing the Cherokee story all your life, it feels like an answer. It is not. The estimate can change after an update. It cannot tell you that an ancestor was Cherokee or even which ancestor it came from. The useful question is, who do you match and where do they connect to your tree? You contact a cousin you have never met, then another. They descend from different children of Sarah, but both lead back to the same maternal line. Now, DNA is helping. It supports the paper trail, separates the two Sarahs, and shows which branch deserves more work, but it still does not say Cherokee. DNA has no tribal label, and a saliva test cannot decide citizenship. The three federally recognized Cherokee tribes set their own rules. The Cherokee Nation, for example, requires documented descent from someone on the Dawes Roll. DNA can point you toward a family line. It cannot decide who belongs to a nation. Sign 7. After you test other explanations, the clues still return to the same branch. Put everything on the table. The story names Sarah. Two branches remember the county. The dates fit. Documents connect every generation. An application names relatives. DNA matches support the same maternal line. Then try to break it again. Could the file belong to another Sarah? Could the cousins connect through someone else? Was the county added later? In our example, one detail changes the picture. The application names Sarah's mother, her dates, relatives, and former home lineup. Sarah's do not. Sarah was not the Cherokee grandmother. The family remembered the right branch, but the wrong woman. The story had shifted by one generation. Now go back to the photograph. At the beginning, you had 5 faces and a note with one word. This time, you are not studying cheekbones. You have a name, a county, a paper trail, an application naming relatives, and DNA matches leading to the same branch. Maybe the answer is Cherokee. Maybe it points to another indigenous community. Maybe the records show the family story was wrong. Any of those answers is better than repeating a mistake because everyone loves the story. Before you open another database, call the oldest person in your family. Ask who told them, where the family lived, and which names they remember. Record the conversation. The records will still be there. Their voice may not be. If only one sign fits, do not force it. If several signs keep pointing to the same branch, keep following it. The photograph is not proof. Neither is a surname or a small DNA estimate. But when the memory, the place, the records, and the DNA matches all lead to the same person, you no longer have only a rumor. You have someone real, someone your family almost lost.